Alright, hello everyone, what is up? It is me, AlbyMTG. Welcome to the Content Creators Community Cup. This is going to be my first match here against another fellow content creator. Everyone here involved is a content creator. This hand looks pretty reasonable. You guys have already seen the deck tech as well as what challenge we're going for here this week, and so it should be a fun one. We're up against the Jeskai team. And that's a pretty solid start here. We're just going to go ahead into the Llanowar Elves to start things off. As you guys can see up here in the left-hand corner, my opponent, Groucho Marco, so shout out to him. And like I said, their team is Jeskai, and that's a pretty good way to get things started here, getting down a Rhythm of the Wild on turn 2. That was a fantastic draw. And he's just going to opt in response. That's perfectly fine with us. So again, like I was saying, you guys have already seen the deck tech and things like that. So we're just going to kind of relax here. We're going to play our games here. We're going to do 3 best-of-1 games, and then you guys are going to see me play against several other opponents who are on another team as well. Let's see how this goes. So I think getting down the Rhythm of the Wild is super important against a team like Jeskai. We do have the option now of just going and slamming Nullhide Ferox and then just trying to get in, and I think that's what I'm going to go for here, is just try and run him out of the game as soon as possible, just get a very nice aggressive start here. And looks like we're in for 6 already, so not too bad. I really like the interaction between Rhythm of the Wild and Crawl Harpooner. That's why Harpooner is my 2-drop of choice here. And I think they're playing sort of a, I think Groucho Marco's playing, yeah, I was going to say, I think he's playing a little bit of a Drake's list, so the Crawl Harpooner will be a fantastic way to remove the Drake. So we can remove the Drake and attack in for 7, which is a 2-turn clock. Or we can just get down the Spellbringer. Spellbringer would be another 4-power creature because of the double riot. So I think I'm going to lean more towards that one. We'll go ahead and start off here with a Spellbreaker. And we're going to go ahead and give it +1/+1 counter and haste and attack in for 10. And this deck seems super sweet. So if you guys haven't already seen my other teammates play their matches yet, you guys can check those out. I'll link Bronson's the only one that's played matches so far, so I'll link Bronson's matches down low in the description, and then if the other people on my team are, recording and things like that as well, those will be down low in the description as well. So again, I think we're in a fantastic spot here in Game 1, and hopefully Game 2 and Game 3 will go equally as smoothly. That would be fantastic for us. Nullhide Ferox and Rhythm of the Wild just seem like incredible cards here against this Drake strategy and against the Jeskai decks in general. A second Crawl Harpooner is fantastic. So I think we actually just have them dead here. We can go, or actually no. Yeah, we do, because we can put a +1/+1 counter on the Crawl Harpooner. So we'll go +1/+1 counter on the Harpooner, and we'll fight the Enigma Drake, and then we'll have Crawl Harpooner come in, fight the Crackling Drake, and we'll attack in for 10 here with the Ferox and the Gruul Spellbreaker, and +1/+1 counter, and we'll target, there it is, we got the concession. So not too bad, very, very fun way to start things off in Game 1, very, very nice. Groucho Marco just messaged me on the Discord and said lol bodied. Yep, that was that was a very, very fast game. But he does have 2 more matches here to come back in and pretty much crush me as equally hard as I got him there in Game 1. So we'll see how Game 2 goes here. And again, it picks randomly who's on the play or the draw. It looks like he was on the play round 1. We're on the play here. Carnage Tyrant looks like it's going to be our main way to victory in this game. So again, we're going to go ahead and keep and then just try and ramp out this Carnage Tyrant as soon as possible. Hopefully he will have, well, it looks like he's on a mulligan, unfortunately, but we're hoping for them to have very minimal interaction here. That way our mana dorks can survive, stay around, and we can get down this Carnage Tyrant pretty early. As early as turn 4 if we can hit another land drop. There's the shock, though, so they do have the interaction. Again, we're going to just go ahead and put down the Incubation Druid here. Not too bad. Unfortunately, if he kills off the Incubation Druid, then we're in a bit of a tough spot. So like if he has Lava Coil here for the Druid, or Lightning Strike for the Druid, there's a bunch of spells he could have right now that would be really unfortunate for us. There's one of them, the Lava Coil. So now we just kind of have to hope to hit our land drops, which there's a land drop, so that's not too bad. We'll go ahead and play out the swamp. We've got Natural Tron on 3, the full Jund over here, so that's fantastic as well. And then we have another land. We could draw, there's Terramander. Okay, Terramander's good with 2 spells in the graveyard so far, but it looks like he missed his 3rd land drop. Since he missed his 3rd land drop, that does make the Assassin's Trophy a little bit worse for us, because that would give him his 3rd land drop. So I think we're just going to go ahead and continuously take 1 here from the Terramander, and hopefully we can, he'll probably opt into another land, I'm assuming. 1 top, so I'm guessing it's a land. There's the land. And that also adds another spell to the graveyard for them, which is pretty nice. But we hit a pretty good one here. We're going to go for the Skargan Hellkite here. So definitely want a +1/+1 counter to play around the Lava Coil to make it a 5/5. And I think we're just going to try and race back here now. We're going to go ahead and get in with our Hellkite for 5. And we'll pass the turn back. And there's an Enigma Drake, okay. Gets in for 1 with Terramander, that's fine. Llanowar Elves, not the greatest draw, but it's actually kind of okay because we can double spell. We can play the Llanowar Elves and still have access to Assassin's Trophy in case, you know, something crazy happens here. Llanowar Elves, just going to go ahead and get the +1/+1 counter. I think we'll make it a 2/2. No reason to give it haste here in this situation. Highland Lake into another Enigma Drake, alright. And some attacks. Alright, this is what I like to see. So, my guess is he's planning on a double block here. He's going to double block the Skargan Hellkite with the Enigma Drake, which means that we can, or with the double Enigma Drake, so then we can use the Assassin's Trophy after the double blocks to remove one of the Enigma Drakes. And then the only way that we get blown out by that situation is if he has some sort of 1-mana interaction, which would be something like a shock to kill the Skargan Hellkite. So we'll go ahead and attack in here. They do go for the double block, alright. Yeah, no reason in changing those up, but I did it anyway because that's just how I am. So we'll go ahead, do the Assassin's Trophy on one of them. So this will knock out both of the Drakes. He's left with a Terramander, which can still become a 5/5 pretty easily. So that's certainly not, like, you know, an unconsequential sort of thing that we did there. But he's got 3 spells in the graveyard, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Niv Mizzet, there we go. That's a big creature right there. So now we're just kind of in a race situation. We have to hope Skargan Hellkite plus Carnage Tyrant is good enough here. Nullhide Ferox is a decent little draw as well. So we could go haste their Hellkite plus Tyrant attack. Next turn we can make a hasty Ferox. Yeah, that seems pretty good to me. We get in here with a hasty Carnage Tyrant. And we'll attack with both. We could attack with the Llanowar Elves here as well. So if they attack with... that could put them to 1, I guess. Or no, because yeah, we're attacking with the Llanowar Elf here, definitely. Now that I redid the math, we're definitely doing that. So he's just going to trade off there, so he'll take 7. I would definitely much rather kill this Niv Mizzet. We're going to actually kill off both of them, but... yeah, we're in another just fantastic spot here. I think our deck just lined up very well against Jeskai. We knew going into these games what we were playing against. I haven't really seen any white so far from Groucho Marco's deck, but we did know ahead of time, so now he's basically dead to any creature. We have the Nullhide Ferox, we give it haste, and that should be another game in the books here. We go all attacks. And even if he blocks our 2 biggest creatures, we get in for 2 with the Llanowar Elves. So again, that attack with the Llanowar Elves last turn was actually pretty important because it gave us lethal on this turn. I didn't think it would be, you know, super consequential when I was thinking about it last turn, but again, ended up being pretty important here. uh, Groucho Marco says, haha, KK, obligatory game 3. All right, so yeah, we do have to play 3 games out here. So let me go back to the direct challenge. All right, so we have game 3 here. So you do get to see 3 games every time I post one of these content creator community cup videos. And again, this hand is fantastic. I just, man, I almost feel bad. Like, these hands have just been incredible so far. So we're going to start off Forest into Llanowar Elves, possibly get down another Rhythm of the Wild on turn 2, which would be quite strong. And then, assuming they have no interaction, I'm guessing they will. Terramander, okay, no interaction so far. But we could end up with another Nullhide Ferox here again, and we'll just throw down the Rhythm of the Wild here. To get the Nullhide Ferox on next turn, though, we will need an untapped land. Cinder Barons does not get the job done, unfortunately. Enigma Drake, sure thing. 0 spells in the yard so far for the Enigma Drake. Gruul Spellbreaker is not too bad. That actually gives us a play this turn, where we can play the Spellbreaker. And we can go +1/+1 counter as well as haste, which means that we can attack this turn with the Spellbreaker as well. And we'll get him for 4 damage here. So again, since he hasn't played any spells yet, we know he doesn't have Shock. We know he doesn't have... actually, if he has if he had Lava Coil, he would have killed off the Llanowar Elves earlier as well. So it looks like he just kept probably a very heavy Drake hand and a not so heavy spells hand. But now the Enigma Drake does have 1 power. Again, I think we're in a fantastic spot again. We're going to go land, so now we can either play Hellkite or Ferox. I think I'm going to opt for the Hellkite in this scenario, because then next turn we can play out the Ferox. Just an opt is fine. 2 power Enigma Drake is not too scary. So we again will go +1/+1 counter as well as haste, and then attack in with both of our creatures. And we have him down to 7 already. Again, this deck is pretty sweet. The being able to play the mana dorks like the Llanowar Elves and the Incubation Druid really helps get around the mana-based restriction which we're forced to play with in this round, where we can't use any rare lands. We have to use the uncommon lands, so you'll see the Highland Lakes, the Izzet Guildgates, the Cinder Barons, those kind of lands showing up here. And so we kind of got around that by playing things like Llanowar Elves and Incubation Druid. When our opponents are playing out these tap lands, we can kind of get ahead of them a little bit by playing out some of the mana dorks to try and get around the fact that we have to play with these lands that aren't quite as good. So now, again, I think we have them in the scenario where they're going to go for a double block of some sort, and then we're going to use the Assassin's Trophy to get them. So that'll leave us with 3 mana left over, which means we could just play Incubation Druid plus Llanowar Elves post-combat, which I think is probably what we're going to go for here. So again, we'll bring in the Spellbreaker, bring in the Hellkite, tax for 9, and second verse, same as the first, we're going to go for the Assassin's Trophy here on one of the Drakes. And that'll get through another 4 points of damage here. And then we can play Incubate. Well, I guess so what sweepers could they have? Is there some, or I guess they might have the Shock here to, maybe not. Maybe they're waiting until end of turn. If they're waiting until end of turn, that could be pretty solid as well. So I'm going to play out the Druid here. Has the Shock for the Hellkite, yep. So I think... yeah, there's pretty much no reason to not give it a +1/+1 counter. The thought process being, we could adapt it next turn and have an additional threat, or we could just give it the +1/+1 counter now, and if we draw some other additional threat later on, like for our next draw, then we can do something like Nullhide Ferox with haste plus the additional creature as well. So Crackling Drake, can they turn on the Terramander yet? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-6, so not quite. Double Ferox, yeah. So this is like exactly what we were setting up. That is not how we want to pay for this though. We want to go like this so that play out Ferox, give it haste, and now we use Incubation Druid plus Llanowar Elves. That way we're able to cast both of our Ferox here. Originally it was going, we'll give it haste again. Originally the way it was tapping with the Incubation Druid plus the Forest, it would have meant that we weren't able to double spell the Ferox, so that is something to kind of keep in mind with the auto tapper here. He does have the ability to just triple block here, and he's just not going to. He's just going to call it games. So, good games, Groucho Marco. Again, I feel like my deck was kind of, I don't know, like really, really good. Yeah, I don't know. They were good games, of course, but I think my deck was just super decent, and then I got some pretty lucky draws. We had like rhythm on 3 like every game, I think. So again, a lot of fun. Thank you so much, Groucho Marker, for the games. Thank you so much to everyone else in the Content Creators Community Cup, the 4Cs, for letting me participate in this event and joining us for some games of Magic. So thank you so much again to you as well for watching the video. If you guys want to see more content like this, some gameplay stuff in the future, be sure to let me know, and I'll see you guys here next time with my next opponent here for the Content Creators Community Cup. Thank you all so much for watching my first episode of me playing in this tournament, the Content Creators Community Cup. Huge shout out and thank you to Groucho Marco for the games. Huge shout out and thank you to Cardsphere for being an amazing sponsor of the channel. And of course, huge shout out and thank you to my patrons over on the Patreon page, Jason, Hayden, Nicole, Jeremy, and Rodrigo, all supporting me over on the Patreon page. Extremely, extremely appreciate all of the support that they give me, and I'll see you guys here next time.